The year is 476 CE. For nearly 1,000 years, Rome has stood as the unquestioned power of the Western world. But today, everything changes. The last Roman emperor, a boy named Romulus Augustulus, is deposed by the barbarian Odoacer. Not with a battle, not with glory, but with a whimper. The mightiest empire the world has ever known has fallen, and Europe plunges into what historians would later call the Dark Ages. With Rome's fall, the systems that had unified Europe disintegrated. Trade routes collapsed, cities emptied, knowledge itself was threatened. As Roman authority vanished, Europe fragmented into countless territories controlled by competing warlords. But nature abhors a vacuum, and from the chaos, new powers would rise. From among the Germanic tribes, one group would prove particularly ambitious: the Franks. In 481, a 15-year-old named Clovis became their king. Ruthless, brilliant, and utterly determined, he would transform European history. Over the next 30 years, Clovis conquered most of Gaul, creating the foundation of what would one day become France. But his most consequential decision wasn't military. It was his conversion to Christianity, a political masterstroke that aligned him with the only institution still spanning the continent: the Church. As secular authority crumbled, the Church became the guardian of Roman knowledge and the only pan-European organization. Monks preserved ancient texts. Bishops became diplomats. The papacy grew from a religious office to a political powerhouse. And in 590, a former monk named Gregory became pope, cementing the Church's role as the primary power broker in this new world. For common people, life changed dramatically. The complex urban economy of Rome gave way to a simpler reality. A new system emerged: feudalism. Land-owning lords offered protection to peasants in exchange for labor and loyalty. It wasn't slavery, but it wasn't freedom either. It was survival in uncertain times. In the 7th century, a new power exploded from Arabia. Islamic armies, unified by faith and led by brilliant generals, conquered territories at an unprecedented rate. By 711, Muslim forces had crossed into Spain, crushing the Visigothic kingdom and advancing into France. Only at the Battle of Tours in 732 were they finally halted by Charles Martel, the Hammer, grandfather of a man who would change everything. Charles the Great, Charlemagne, took the Frankish throne in 768. Through 53 military campaigns, he conquered most of Western Europe. But Charlemagne was more than a conqueror. He was a visionary. He launched the Carolingian Renaissance, standardizing currency, establishing schools, preserving classical texts, and creating a central government. On Christmas Day, 800 CE, Pope Leo III crowned Charlemagne as Emperor of the Romans, reviving the concept of empire in the West for the first time since Rome's fall. For a brief, shining moment, Western Europe was unified again. But new threats were emerging from the north. The Vikings, master seafarers and fierce warriors, began raiding European coasts. From Ireland to Russia, nowhere seemed safe from their longships. They sacked Paris, besieged Constantinople, and even reached North America. Yet they were also explorers, traders, and settlers who connected distant parts of the world and founded cities that still stand today. By the 10th century, innovations were transforming Europe. Better plows, crop rotation, and watermills increased food production, population grew, towns expanded, trade revived. With newfound stability came cultural confidence. The massive cathedral-building projects began, monuments to faith and engineering that would take generations to complete. Were they truly dark ages? Or were they the crucible in which modern Europe was forged? The old Roman world died, yes, but from its ashes rose the nations, institutions, and cultural identities we recognize today. The Dark Ages weren't the end of civilization. They were a beginning. Difficult, chaotic, and violent, but a beginning nonetheless. And their legacy surrounds us still. Hit the like, share, and comment button for more untold history.